In this video, I'm going to talk about why being an artist is heavily tied to self-improvement. I'm going to kind of talk about my journey and why it's kind of shaped me to be the artist that I am today. Just to kind of give an idea of, people trying to go into this industry, wanting to become somewhat successful in a creative field. It is very challenging. And there's a lot of things, looking back now, I wished I did them earlier in my 20s. Things like developing good habits and taking care of myself. If you decide to become an artist and want to be successful as an artist, I think taking improvement to yourself into consideration is very useful for your career and your journey and your path, because it'll only help you become a more resilient and stronger artist. Because let's be real, I feel a lot of artists today don't really put in the effort to take care of themselves, which is probably a crucial thing to becoming an artist that can stick it out for the long run. Because I've seen some of my friends who've gone into this field and they've been dropping like flies. I started my career when I was around 20 years old, and I'm 30 years old now, so it's been a good 10 years since then. And I've learned a lot, I've failed a lot, I've made a lot of mistakes, and I hope I can help somebody out there who is sort of struggling to find themselves. And that's kind of like one thing I wanted to touch upon, is that being an artist is sort of like a self-discovery sort of path, because you're essentially starting from scratch. When you're finding different pieces that you want to make, you're essentially finding a lot about who you are as a person and what your tastes, your likes and dislikes are in the field of media. It's a very intimate process with yourself, and I think it unlocks a lot of things you didn't know about yourself before. Going back to my story a bit, as a young 20-year-old artist going into this industry for the first time, I was always on this struggle and pursuit of trying to fit in with the crowd and blend in with the popular trends that people were doing. But I realized this kind of shot me in the foot, because I was only doing my future self a disservice. I didn't know how to develop confidence, and going through different challenges in art and life has taught me a whole lot. Throughout the years, I've always had to chase after people's approval. I would always ask if I'm doing something right or if I'm doing this wrong, and it would always just make me seek that validation that I didn't have for myself. I think as you grow as an artist, you slowly start to kind of stand up for yourself in a way, and what you believe in and what you want out of your career, because you soon start to realize that no one is going to guide your hand for you. Maybe they might do it in the very beginning stages, but as you grow older and as you mature, you start to kind of understand life a little bit better, and you can start to find the art that interests you. And it's such a beautiful organic process that happens over the course of years in the making. You kind of have to go through a lot of difficult things and a lot of dirty work, I would say, because finding yourself, I think, is not pretty at all. You're gonna have to face a lot of fears and a lot of demons. This is why I always talk about developing your body and your health and your mind, your spirit, because these are all things that kind of correlate with a healthy attitude towards art. Because if you're sitting at home being depressed all day and you never really went outside and gained new experiences, or try to challenge yourself in a way that you're not comfortable with, then your art isn't going to show that. You're mostly going to play it safe with your art by following the trends, following what's popular out there. You're never going to really explore the core of yourself through your art. And if you want to do this for a long time, then you need to develop the mental stamina and the physical stamina to, essentially last long at your desk. Because as we all know, being an artist means you sit at your computer all day long painting dozens of images, and it gets taxing. Mentally, it gets really tiring on the brain, on the body as well, because you're not really moving around that much. And physical exercise kind of helps offset those bad habits of just sitting in the house all day. So make sure you get some sun and get some fresh air, eat healthy food, because that's going to be able to allow your mind to function better, and getting plenty of sleep as well, because with poor sleep you start to develop like mini dementia. I've noticed when I've had bouts of lack of sleep or something, I tend to be a lot more forgetful about what it is I want to do for the day, and what it is I want to draw, and what it is I want to create. Don't neglect these things. If you're going to be on the road to a successful artist, I don't even consider myself all that successful, maybe like semi-successful. It's still all part of the path. All this improving yourself, make a name for yourself in some way, it takes a lot of effort. Mentally, physically, spiritually, you need all these things. I think people get self-improvement twisted a lot of times, and they think it's about like getting as jacked and ripped as humanly possible. Self-improvement just means that you have clarity of body, mind, clarity of yourself, right? You don't have to be a huge bodybuilder to be successful, but at least you should have pretty good fitness, because having good fitness shows that you have good discipline in your habits. Your body should almost reflect your art. You can have good art, but you can also have a very weak and poor body. What happens when you have that? You tend to not be able to create any more work, because now you have to deal with your health issues. And when you have more health issues, you're going to the hospital more often, and you don't have time for your art because you're busy tending to your wounds. If your health is on parallel with your art, then you're pretty much unstoppable with your career. You can have a great body but terrible art skills, and that part suffers, right? Because if you don't have good art skills, you're a little bit less marketable in a commercial sense. That kind of hinders your ability to get more opportunities when your art is not good enough. So you kind of have to meet both ends of the spectrum, right? You need to make sure your health is on point, art is on point, but also spiritually as well. And I think spirituality is such an important component of being a successful artist, because you need a little bit of faith. If you don't have faith in yourself, you can't make the best ideas come to life. Because I used to be a person who didn't really believe in himself that much. I suffered a lot from self-doubt as a young kid, and it didn't make me progress as far as I'd hoped, or as quicker as I hoped, because my mindset was just trash, and I didn't really know what I wanted for myself. I just lacked confidence overall. And when I was younger, my physique was terrible, my health was terrible. I ate all sorts of junk food that was not good for my overall stamina. I was basically just being a degenerate, like 24/7, I had a lot of vices that were hard to get rid of. Yeah, it just sucked. And this kind of hindered my ability to become good at what I do after a while. So just knowing that all of these things are important for success, don't neglect these things, because it's part of your journey anyways. If you don't want to take care of yourself along this journey, it may have consequences in the future. Don't give up. You'll be able to pull through these things one day at a time. With that being said, if you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.